So I just got back this last week from an event called Epicurrence. It was in Lake Tahoe. Kind of 3 full days of snowboarding and conversations with other designers in the industry. I had a really great time. It was pretty awesome. So I'm going to devote this whole episode to kind of a recap of that event. But more importantly, some of the thoughts that have been going on in my head since the event. I'm walking out to the beach to kind of film this, so hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Every time I know, like it's part of the past, in the future too.
So this last week was mostly spent traveling and having great times. But more than anything, it got me thinking a lot about this last 6 months and some things I've been going through. So I'm going to bring it down and get a little serious. The hope is that this comes across authentic. So I had a podcast. I still have a podcast called The Balance, and I've been doing that for about 2 years. It was a great outlet for me to interview people and talk about kind of work-life balance and being a creative. About November, December last year, I stopped recording. I had a very interesting part of my life and just didn't really have the time or really the mental capacity to keep doing that in addition to my priorities and responsibilities as a dad and a designer. And I got to a dark place. And I got to a point where I wrote a couple of my friends, my dad, and a couple people close to me. But I feel like I've been fed a lie from the polished conservative religious culture on how joy and pure life can be. I am a pastor's kid. My dad's a pastor, so I grew up in the church, and that in general was a great positive thing for me, and I still hold my faith very close, very important part of my life. But with that culture, there is this polished veneer and exterior that I think is just is rooted in good intent, but I think can be a large weight for a lot of people. This is all leading up to a theme that I took away from Epicurrence, and that was kind of the theme of identity. I myself identify as a designer. I think a lot of us do, or as creatives, or whatever our profession is. And I think that there's a lot of potential risk there. I personally have always identified as a Christian, and that comes with a lot of baggage. This last year, I found myself realizing that I was trying to live up to an expectation, perception to other people that was really hurting me on the inside. And I think I got to a point of depression. I think I caught it early. I wouldn't say I've struggled with depression, but I got to a weird place where I was working at Google. I had a job I never thought I would have. I had a beautiful family, a loving wife, live in a beautiful place like this on the West Coast, and I just wasn't happy. And I think a lot of that was me realizing that I've done everything that I thought I should do. I obeyed all the rules, I hustled, I did everything I did, and I had what I thought would make me happy, and it wasn't. I think that was coming from me putting my effort into this exterior or this persona that I wanted to be. And I found that, like, in a lot of conversations I had at Epicurrence, whether they were people that I looked up to or people that looked up to me or people that we were just colleagues, I think there's this ability for us to look at people, whether it's on social media or in our different circles, and to put them on pedestals or to perceive them a certain way. And I think it's very dangerous. I think the more that we talk and interact with people in real life and not from these kind of distant perspectives or through social media, I think the more we can realize that we're just all people, I think the easier it is for us to have the right perspective of who we are and who everyone else is. The second line that I wanted to talk about is that talk is cheap, and I'm sick of saving face. I've been lying on the outside and coping on my own, kind of living in the shadows. Too often when people say, "How are you doing?" we say, "I'm doing great." The church, they say, "I'm blessed." And work, people say you're busy. And I think all of that is it's such bullshit. And I'm to the point now where I really don't care. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to tell you. I'm having a shitty day. I'm not doing very well. Whatever that is, I've been trying to take that as real as it is and trying not to put on a face. I think there's a lot of value to that. I'm still learning how to do that. I think this vlog and me doing these videos is a way for me to do that. But I think it's very easy for us to want to live up to something or portray something, kind of PR ourselves in career or in life. And I think that I did that really well. I think whether it was lying or whether it was me faking it or whether it was me just being genuine. And so I guess this isn't an encouragement or me bitching about a fake industry or how we use social media. I think this is me just realizing that there were so many personal things in my life, be it my faith, my goals and career, or my responsibilities as a father and a husband. I carried a lot of weight in trying to make sure I was doing that correctly, or what I thought culture or my surroundings thought that should be. And I think whether you're doing that in industry, whether you're doing that in your community, whether you're doing that in faith or family or friends, the more that you're being fake to try and make people happy or to try and fit a mold or put on kind of the exterior picture that people want you to be, it's going to not satisfy, it's not going to make you happy, and potentially be a huge weight that I don't think anyone can bear. So I'm just really trying to lean into authenticity and honesty and integrity, and if that means I'm more of an asshole sometimes, I think I'm okay with that. I think the design industry, frankly, like talking specifically about Epicurrence, has done a good job of that. I think we encourage, and especially at that conference, I think Dan and everyone involved has done a great job at allowing people to be vulnerable and encouraging people to be authentic until to have kind of a level playing field for people to have a discussion. But I don't see that in the industry at large, and that was kind of the contrast that I've realized is I spent all these days at Epicurrence having great conversation with people, being very real, not just talking about work but talking about life and everything else that surrounds it. And so often the narrative that we have online or at work is so polished, it's so fake, and I'm kind of fed up with that, and it drove me to a really dark place. But I guess if I have an encouragement is to really look at things authentically and be honest with yourself and with those around you. Stop caring what people think. I think that's a burden no one needs to bear. Hope that all makes sense. See you guys next time.